job you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life. Confucius. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ministry of Education and Youth Career Talk with Fayval Williams. Of course, I'm sure you're all excited to be here as we have an excellent lineup for you. We're going to be hearing from a lot of industry professionals in the field of politics, data analytics, new media, marketing, media, and finance. Now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome the following persons. Honorable Minister Fayval Williams, Minister of Education and Youth, Dr. Kassan Troop, Acting CEO of the Ministry of Education and Youth, Dr. Tamika Benjamin of the National Mathematics Coordinator from the Ministry of Education and Youth. She joins via Zoom. MP Rhoda Moy Crawford from Manchester Central, Mrs. Mariam Robinson, Vice President of PSOJ, Lauren Peart, CEO of Blue Dot, Jonathan Singh Zimmer, social media influencer, Khalil Harris, founder and CCO of Monumental Partners. Now, please give them a round of applause in your virtual spaces. And, of course, here with me in the room. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Kassan Troop to bring the welcome and opening remarks.
Thank you so much. Brittany Clark. Oh, the young people love her. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my joy to be here this afternoon. Let me say warm welcome to our boys and girls out there in cyberspace, to our parents who are listening. Today we have a lineup for you that is going to blow your mind. We have dynamic people with us, people who are game changers, who are making a difference in the field in Jamaica. And we specifically chose them to be here to bring you some insights, because that's what this is about. So let me welcome you all to this space, those out in the virtual world, those right here in the room. You know, our moderator extended warm welcome already, but notwithstanding that, let me acknowledge our own minister, who is the brainchild behind this. You know, this week we celebrated the National Careers Week 2022. Amidst all that is happening in Jamaica with the pandemic, we felt it was necessary to have a focused week and career to kind of promote the importance of career development for our boys and our girls. And our minister said, I want to close it. I want to put the little icing on the cake. I want to hear from the children. You know, sometimes we feel so far removed because of what the pandemic has done, and minister wanted to bring them home and to bring you in this space today. And that's why we are here. Closing off our week, we had a dynamic week. We started out with the church service, and you should see the boys and girls out in Morant Bay. Our students, our guidance counselors, our deans of discipline came out, and they were a part of the church service. And you know, everything we do in education, we make sure we invoke the presence of God. And also to acknowledge the talents that we have been blessed with, because that's what career is about. So that's how we started out the week. The week, we were in partnership with the activities with Junior Achievement Jamaica. We had a partnership with the Jamaica Library Service. You know, they have 211 parish libraries, so that's a good reach. And they were able to entertain our students with displays and so forth. So it has been a dynamic time. We had a wonderful panel discussion this week with our students, looking at the sustainable development goals. Can you believe that? And the careers that are possibly aligned to that. So it has been a really dynamic week. And today, we are topping it off with a wrap session, a light session with our minister, right? And we have, of course, MP Rhoda Crawford with us. And you watch her on social media. She loves the young people. She's about development and education, and she's right here to talk to you as well. And you know, Miriam is my friend personally. You know, she's part of what we do for education and the recovery plan. Just ideas, just some teasing questions. And she's making moves as a young person, more so a woman, you know, leading. And we are so happy to have you. Welcome, Mariam Robinson. We have some other people with us. Lauren Peart, who is the CEO of Blue Dot. And you're not seeing a blue shirt, but you're seeing the word Blue Dot. And we have Jonathan Singh Zimmer. And you can see it in his look. Look at, you see the young people? That's what we're talking about. And you guys know how to bring the flair and the light and the creativity in the room. And I know that's what you're going to bring to the conversation. We welcome you, and we're looking forward to your contribution. We have online in the virtual space Dr. Tamika Benjamin, who is with our National Numeracy Coordinator for the Ministry of Education. So she's also going to bring her insight to the space. So we're really looking forward. We talk about career, we're talking about, you know, an occupation, we're talking about things that you will do In the past, we were about lifetime things, but this young generation will be doing many things. And you'll be hearing that you can be many things. And look, for me, from my own journey, I started out thinking I wanted to be an accountant. I was telling Minister just last evening that I'm a numeric person, doing my math and doing my accounts. And I said, yes, I'm going to be an accountant. I'm going to make some money. But as I developed, I fell in love with helping people, wanting people to become their best. And then I pursued studies in guidance and counseling, you know, and spent some time doing that. And as I exposed myself to further training, I went into administration and leadership. So that's the kind of journey and conversation that our young people will be on. But you will have more exciting careers because things are changing. And so we're going to welcome you again into this space, and we're going to turn over to our minister, back to our moderator, who will chime into our minister to start the conversation as you wrap with our minister and key stakeholders in the space. And I have one more person to welcome, who's just looking at me, Khalil, the founder of Monumental Partners. You know, we welcome you, sir. We couldn't do this without you, you know, so don't feel any way, because I know you're going to have your part to play in the conversation, and the young people will be posing their question. Thank you for making the time to be a part of a transformational conversation with our young people to close out the week for National Careers Week 2020. I now turn back over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Cassandra. I hope everybody is feeling the energy that I'm feeling in the room, because I'm excited. As you said, this is the icing on the cake. And of course, I am Brittany Clark. I'll also be a part of the panel to just give some insight from the media perspective. Now, we're going to get into the discussion, because this is a light session, it's a conversation, and we want everybody to be engaged both in the room and online. So I'll start first with the discussion on politics. And I'll first go to Honorable Fayval Williams, Minister of Education and Youth. Now, Minister Williams, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good, good. Yes, you look lovely, of course.
Thank you.
Yes, and you know, just thanks for this initiative, because it is important that we have the discussion around careers and the plans for the future. Now, I want you to tell me a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Wow. In 3 to 5 minutes?
Yeah, man, sure.
Okay. Well, first, let me start off by saying all protocols observed. Thank you, everyone, for participating in Career Week. I think this is important for students. A lot of times, you know, around the table, all of us interact, we have access. We know people who are accountants, doctors, lawyers, but a lot of students in Jamaica, they don't have that kind of access. They don't have those people in their communities. So it's important for us to present career to them in a way that's real and authentic, and that is what you represent here this afternoon. In terms of my own pathway to be sitting here today, I have to say, I am the kind of least likely person to have been here, honestly, to have been in Parliament, let alone here. I'm not the kind of loud, boisterous, kind of typical politician. And so actually, when I began to really seriously consider representational politics, and I started kind of telling friends, I remember one lady saying to me, you can't go into politics, you don't know nothing about politics, you know. And honestly, I was taken aback, because to me, she didn't know what was in my soul, right? What was in me. And what my aspirations were, and I thought, my gosh, a lot of children may articulate their careers to adults, and they just get slammed. They just get, you know, you can't be that, you can't be anything. And so I want to say to students, nurture your goals, nurture your aspirations. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do what it is that's bubbling up within you. Find out as much information as you can about the path that you want to go in. Talk to as many people. Some will be positive, some will be negative, but just keep focused on what you want to do. Because if you do, that's where your energy is going to come from, and you're going to get to that place that you want to get to. So here I am. You know, first time politician, second term politician, I would say. I just kind of put my shoulder to the wheel, did the work, did a lot of walking, like, you know, MP Crawford knows, you have to get out there on the ground and just interact with people. And I found that I I didn't have to be boisterous. I didn't have to be loud. I didn't have to be any of those things, because when you interact in one-on-one and even in small crowds, it's the person that you're talking to, and you're listening to what their needs are. And if you can fulfill it, you do. If you can't, you know, you kind of have to meander around and wheel and come again sometimes. But that's what I found in representational politics. Now, of course, to become a minister, that's the purview of the Prime Minister. And so it's an honor that's bestowed on MPs, and I'm eternally grateful for the opportunity to be here. And I can tell you, I just love what I'm doing, honestly.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
You finished sharing? Okay, thank you, Minister Williams. Now, I saw MP Crawford nodding her head to some of the points that you made, and I want to bring you into the conversation. Did you face that kind of criticism and discouragement from persons around you when you said, oh, I want to enter representational politics?
No, it came, good afternoon, everyone, by the way. Good afternoon, Jamaica. So first of all, for me, I've always been involved in student leadership and service and giving back to the community. And as an educator by profession, I have always viewed the classroom similar to politics. Meaning, when you're a teacher, at the start of a year, you're given a group of students and you're expected to move them from point A to point B. And your success will be judged on the movement of the students. Similarly, as a member of parliament, you're given a constituency, or you're elected to represent a constituency. You're given a term, and at the end of, you're expected to do various activities, and you're expected to move the constituency from point A to point B. So it's pretty much a microcosm of society, the classroom. So it was easy for me to transition from being a teacher to a politician. Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting transition, yes, because I never looked at it like that. You know, politics, the classroom of leadership, essentially. So that's a very good takeaway from somebody who is coming from, you know, no background in politics per se, and then going into politics to apply those principles.
I had some background because I've always been interested in giving back, and when I started the University of the West Indies, I decided to get involved in the Generation 2000. That's the young professional arm of the Jamaica Labour Party.
Nice.
And being a part of Generation 2000, as an executive member, I served as a vice president and as a deputy general secretary. And part of our responsibility was to go into the different constituencies to work alongside councillors, councillor caretakers, MPs, MP caretakers, work alongside ministers. So I got a first-hand experience of what is required, but it is still a different ball game when you're actually wearing the shoes.
Shoes, that's right. All right, thank you both for that. So something that stood out as well is that both of you had different starts, right? You started in education, and then Minister Williams went through, you know, and did a whole lot of stuff, right? Finance, right? Oh. Years and years, exactly. So as you can see, it's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all, right? So what we say on social media, there's no politician starter pack, right? So there's really nothing like that. So tell me a little about that experience, Minister Williams, you know, being somebody who, like, how did you feel transitioning from that into politics? Because I know you said you got the discouragement and all that, but how did you feel personally?
No, I felt good. Well, like Rhoda, the experience that I equate to this is that I was the president of my community association, and talk about that being a microcosm of what you have to do as an MP. Seriously, you have to relate to the people in the community. They're asking you for the same things they're asking me now: the light, the road, the garbage collection, all of that. But also I had a good mentor in a former member of parliament. So it started to, you know, feel, as I journeyed on, feel natural. And so, you know, getting to that point where we went through the election, that was an eye-opener. I never experienced anything like that in my entire life. You know, the big crowds and having to give speeches and do all of that, but made it through it.
Made it through. Yes. Excellent, excellent. Now I have two more questions. So for you, MP Crawford, what 2 words do you think you'd recommend for some 2 qualities somebody should have to begin to be ready for politics?
Well, first of all, they have to have a passion for servant leadership, because being a member of parliament, it's not an opportunity to show off and to puff your chest and hello, I'm the boss. It's really to give service to the people who have invested their confidence. And the other quality, you must have a belief in self, because there will be moments when the people you will look for support may not necessarily give you the level of support you need. And so you have to believe in yourself, know what your capabilities are, and you have to sometimes dig deep. You know, and I learned that from very early, but more so in my campaign. A lot of persons said when they heard I was going to be running the election against a political giant that I was committing political suicide. And if I didn't believe in myself and knew that I had the ability, then I may have given up along the way.
Nice, excellent. So passion for servant leadership and belief in self. Now my final question from this segment. You are part of a historical group of women in leadership, because for this year, well, the last general election, we have 18 female MPs in the House of Representatives. What advice would you give to women to enter the political landscape?
So the first advice I'd give to females, irrespective of the political party you are representing, come with an open mind. Do not come thinking that I should only associate with the females from the same political party. Because what I've come to realize since coming in as a first-time member of parliament, I have been given support not just from my own colleagues, but it was a surprise for me too that I got so much support from women on the opposite side. And I think that is something that is good, and that is what Jamaica needs to move forward. So don't come with a tribal mindset.
Nice.
Know what you want, set your targets to, and know in the same way you know your entry, start to think about your exit point. Set your own goals and move towards them.
Nice. And anything to add, Minister Williams?
Sure. I mean, I would wholeheartedly recommend to women that they step forward and become a part of the political landscape at this level. Women bring a different perspective, and we want your voice to be heard. You know, we approach things differently because we're women and so on. And Jamaican students, children need to see us at that level. And in terms of what I think you need as a politician, as a member of parliament, you need two things. You need the patience of Job, and you need to just cultivate that quality to listen and listen deeply to persons. And I think if you do,
have a thick skin, because there are going to be criticisms. Some are not warranted. There are persons who will launch attacks for no real reason. So you have to be able to develop self-control and to be strong.
Yeah,
To be strong.
absolutely.
Excellent points. So can I get a round of applause for my women in parliament? I love that. So later down, we'll be taking some more question and answers from our guests on social media. But we're going to be going into the next category now, which is entrepreneurship, under the theme Think It, Build It. So in this category, we'll hear from Lauren Peart, CEO of Blue Dot, as well as Khalil Harris, founder and CCO of Monumental Partners. So I'll start with you, Lauren. Tell me a little bit about, same question, who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Thank you, Brittany. So I'm Lauren Peart, the CEO of Blue Dot. We are an insights agency, so we help our clients to make better decisions with data, in short.
Okay, so Lauren, do you have a background in the field that you are in now?
No, I don't actually, but I hire the brightest people.
Excellent, that's a good strategy.
Right.
So you're in the field of data analytics, right? Data mining.
Right.
We see now, if you do a quick Google search, you see that is becoming a more in-demand field. Like, what's the potential? What would you recommend to somebody who's exploring that kind of field for the future?
So as you said, data and analytics, in 2022 or nowadays, you should not be making any decisions without data or insights. In Jamaica / the Caribbean, we're accustomed to making gut-based decisions and following instinct, or you have a WhatsApp group with your friends who you might ask a question, but that you shouldn't be doing that. You should be really going out and trying to understand who your customers are, who your constituents are, or your voters are, and you to profile them in order, which will allow you to to market to them or to target them in deeper ways.
Nice. Now, you're a business owner in the midst of a pandemic. Tell me a little bit about how the pandemic has affected you and how you pushed through.
Therapy and prayer. That's how that's how I push through. We lost over 90% of our business in the week after our first case in Jamaica. I think that was the 10th of March. And we just had to, there was an initial 2 weeks of me just being like a deer caught in headlights and wondering, what on earth was going on. But we had to pivot. We had to create packages that, would have benefited our clients and met their needs at that time during the pandemic, helping them to understand again their customers. Because consumer behavior shifted, the wallets had shrunk, people's spending power had shrunk, so we had to develop packages for them. And then, like I said, just pivot and we just rode it out. And luckily, we're doing much better now.
Nice. Yeah, I think that deserves a round of applause. Yes. So I am somebody looking to start a small business. What advice do you have for me?
Stop looking and just start it. Stop looking to start it and just start it.
And just start it.
Yeah,
Excellent.
we tend to let fear consumers and all of the what ifs and if this happen and all of that. No, just start.
So just do
and
it.
Start where you are and with what you have.
With what you have.
Yeah.
Nice. Excellent. Now, this question I know a lot of persons have, because when Dr. Troop came in, she said she didn't see a blue shirt, but she saw the blue dot. Yes? Can you tell us a little about, how you came up with the name Blue Dot?
That's a long story, and I wish I had a profound, reason why I came up with the name. But literally, I was having beer. I was having Red Stripe beer, and I was looking at the name Red Stripe, and I was wondering what on earth does it mean, and it didn't mean anything. And I went from Red Stripe to Red Square to Green Dot, and ended up at Blue Dot.
Blue Dot.
Nice. But I wish I had a more profound story, but I don't.
How many beers?
Good question.
That's a good question.
Right.
All right, so bringing you in, Mr. Harris or Khalil, tell me about your Field Monumental Partners. Tell me about what you do and why you do it.
So, our Monumental Partners is a marketing agencies of integral marketing agency. We deal with from strategy development, developing a strategy for a company, to advertising, what everybody knows about in terms of radio, TV, commercials, to digital marketing. So you basically come to Monumental, you're having an issue with getting that brand out there, to develop that brand, get that brand to the masses, developing your fan base, and Monumental helps you to build that fan base.
Nice. So essentially branding for companies.
Branding
for companies.
That's it.
Now I'm looking to brand myself. What do I need to do?
Brand yourself.
Yes.
I broke it down. Basically, the number one thing you need to start doing, first and foremost, before you start any type of branding, whether yourself or a company or anything, is figure out your target market. So when it comes down to yourself now, you'd have to figure out, listen, who are you talking to? And Lauren kind of said it, and MP said it, also said, listen, right, saying that, listen, you have to know who you're going after, who you're going to talk to, because as Minister Fayval says, she can't talk to everybody. So she could never be that type of politician who can be loud and say, hey, be that type of energy, but she brings a different type of energy, which then resonates with her following, because they wanted a calmer person, a person who looks like, okay, I know where I'm going, and I'm not just being fluff. And so maybe that's why her audience loves her. So when you know your target audience, and that's the major, after that, basically is entering a community. As everybody says, like forming community, being a part of community, so you can find mentorship, so you can find what people are saying about it, and so you can keep getting information. As Lauren said, Blue Dot.
Nice. Well, in your explanation of what you do, you mentioned digital marketing, right? So we know traditional marketing is there, but tell us a bit about digital marketing.
Digital marketing. So digital marketing is basically the new PR. What it is when you look at it from a standpoint, everybody says, listen, I'm marketing because I'm on Instagram or I'm on Facebook. But it's not a platform per se.
Oh.
It's the entire internet, right? And it's how you get your name. It's just same way. It's just a new format of how you get your brand out there to your fan. And again, it comes right back. Everybody on Instagram can't be. I can't be on Instagram doing what Zima says, right? It does, right? I can't be him. So I have to understand my audience, understand my brand, and understand how to get my brand out there. And then you decide on the platforms that will take you there. So LinkedIn might be a great platform for you based upon you're more professional, you're more in that space, you write a lot of blogs, and so digital marketing is still sitting down, figuring out who is your target audience, and then using the platform
to boost that. Okay, good.
Simple.
What recommendations do you have for second source of income?
Second source of income.
Yes.
Well, the truth is, let me just say, my personal belief is this, and I'm conflicted because I'm a Jamaican. Jamaicans always feel like we must have many business all over the place. However, and I've got caught into that also. But the problem with it is, I truly believe that the persons who receive more success are the persons who stay focused, right? That second source of income sometimes becomes the deterrent to you. If you have an idea, if you have a passion, move towards your passion and make it your source of income. And if it's not working or you see where it's just not working, then as they always say, pivot, figure it out, or rebrand and move forward. But that other source of income is time. And time is the most precious thing that you have. So sometimes I'm not so sure about that second source of income.
Okay, well, that's a good perspective. Everybody feels like we need to have a side hustle. So, young people listening will get that perspective.
As I grow, I find that I'm thinking it's not, I don't know if it's a good thing, but I don't know if it's a great idea if you're an entrepreneur or if you have a passion to go towards. If you're what we call a hustler and you're just hustling things, then find as much income as possible. But if you have a passion for something, if you decide that this is the way you're going to go, focus on your brand. Focus on getting the most out of it. There's many ways to make money from the simple thing.
From the simple thing. Nice. Can we get a round of applause for those perspectives? Good advice. Now, this is a burning question, I know, among our young people. We heard a little about the data mining, data analytics, and the digital marketing. So, are you or your company offering any mentorship or internships?
Of course, all the time. All the time. Yes, you can look us up.
Yes.
Apply. We're always open for internships.
Always open.
We're always open for new minds.
New minds.
Yeah, I mean, there is so much space that needs to be. As I was saying, in the pandemic, it started out, and right now, the focus is not on coming into office. It's remote work. That's the new age. Nice. So persons really shouldn't even be thinking about how am I going to get there, what am I going to do. It's basically remote work. You can do anything, especially in this space, in marketing and in the technology space. You can do everything from your home. It just takes a little bit more discipline that you're here, but actually I can watch you better because I can watch when you log in and log off. And there are softwares now that can enable you better, whereby when you're in my office, you can be looking at the screen and acting like you're working.
Yes.
So in actuality, so the internship doesn't mean you can apply from Manchester. You can apply from Westmoreland. It's fine.
Yes,
remote
so no
work
limitation.
No limitation.
And for you, Lauren, you have a Blue Dot communities, right? That's an opportunity for persons to participate and earn. Can you tell us a little about that?
All right, so thanks for that question, and it's a good advertisement for us. So we have an online community where we pay. We have an online community where we pay individuals to conduct surveys, to do surveys. So we're essentially paying for your opinion. So we do collect thousands of responses every week, and the average payout that we pay is $500 per response. So that's blue.communal.com.
All right.
And yes, we are looking for
internships.
We have internships and we have mentorship programs, especially if you're in the space that we're in research, statistics, data analytics, anything like that.
All right. Thank you so much, Lauren Peart and Khalil Harris. Round of applause for them. All right, so we're moving into women in finance, and it's making money moves. So we're going to hear from Mariam Robinson, Vice President from PSOJ, and she'll tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Okay, thanks, Brittany. Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here. And thank you, Minister, for having this brainchild come to fruition. Really enjoying the discussion so far. So I'm Mariam. I'm a Vice President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. I'm also the President and CEO of a commercial bank in Jamaica, First Global Bank, which is part of the Grace Kennedy Group. And I've been in finance. Prior to banking, I was also a partner to an investment fund, a private equity fund, and have been a consultant for a number of years. I am very passionate about the juxtaposition between what you do, so doing well and doing good, the ability to give back to your community. And I think finance allows that. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Nice. All right, so a little birdie told me, right, that you have a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from MIT and an MBA from Harvard Business School, but now you're doing finance. Tell me about that journey. And you're doing finance.
So it's interesting. I think so. First of all, a parent came to me about 4 years ago when I was had just started at the bank, and she had heard me speak, and she wanted me to talk to her child because her child was going to university to study geography, and she was very concerned about what job she would have after studying geography. And I appreciated that she reached out to me, and I met with she was in 12th grade at the time, her daughter. And one of the things I've learned about university is that it's not about what you study, it's the process of transformation that happens when you go to a tertiary institution or just whatever that, I guess, focused learning phase that you're going through. So I did engineering because I'm very analytical, I love problem solving. Physics was my favorite, subject in high school.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's weird, but yeah, I was so geeky that way, Although, shout out to everybody who likes physics, you're not necessarily a nerd. And then, when you do engineering, it gives you a foundation to try other things, because what they're really honing is not that you can build a resistor or build a radio or build a computer, it's the problem solving. And engineering is not the only course. So there's finance, there's economics, there's business, all of that whole process of maturing as a young person is really the problem solving. And I actually think when I was in college 30 years ago, they focused a lot on the hard skills. What I'm seeing now, where I think the world is moving and what we're needing more of, is that soft skills.
Yes.
So you use those 4 years to figure out how do you work with people? How do you figure out, if you're a hothead or passionate, I like that word better, passionate. I'm so passionate. You figure out how to work through others and get them to your position. If you're very quiet, but you have to make speeches, you can do it during those years. So it's less about what you study, and it's actually allowing yourself the space to go through that phase, because as the world converges with social media, we're all even more connected. And even this COVID that we've actually just gone through now, how we work and communicate and kind of collaborate is going to be more and more important. And you can't learn that in a book. You just have to give you space. You have to give yourself the time and space to go through and evolve as a person.
Nice. Well, investment is a buzzword now in like all over Jamaica, in the Jamaica Stock Exchange, etc. What's the importance of investing and just investing for your future?
Right. So I think, when we think about investments, people sometimes think it's just about material and wealth creation. But, I fundamentally believe that, a country where people are building wealth for themselves means that they can then build wealth for their communities, and means that they can then build wealth for the next generation. I think as a people, we're all about, okay, mommy and daddy, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Why are my parents not helping me? When you look at other communities that have built wealth over time, the goal of the parent is to leave something for the child. Most of us don't think that way. We think about what we can, we don't think about giving to our children. We actually think about having children and hoping that they will look after us when we're older. So the goal of investment to me has a more deeper spiritual meaning than just kind of setting yourself up for the future. That being said, I'm really pleased to see, and I really like this segment we just had, actually I like both segments, that we just had around, building wealth and going into business for yourself. And I think because of that, your income, gone are the days where you work for a corporation and you have a pension. Right? Gone are those days where you have these traditional jobs. And so I think it's important to actually be intentional about how you invest your money. Property, real estate is always good. I'm not going to give any advice because I'm not really an expert in this. But, I think real estate is good. Passive income is good. while you're focusing, as Khalil said, on your passion, because you never know what the future holds. The other thing about money is I actually think we should, teach it even more in schools so that we can all develop a healthy relationship with money. Some of us are savers. I thought, I would never have money in the future, so I'm always saving. I rarely spend. That's my temperament. Some are spenders so they can feel better because someone will look after me later in life. But we should really think about what is our natural relationship with money, and then what do we want it to be. So that as we're growing up and we're trying to have more flexibility about our lives and how we deal with shocks as we go through life and how we help others, having that foundation in terms of financial stability is so important. So that's why investing, I think, is good. I will say, I think, what the government was doing around listing some of these, businesses where we actually open up investments to the broader Jamaican population and start to explain to people about financial inclusion and come to the table and give yourself access. I think that is very important. I think that's gone very well so far. And I think that more and more persons should be reaching out to financial institutions. There are many. There are many, not just mine, right? And really come to the table and say, I have 1,000 Jamaican dollars. I want to figure out, I want to put this away for a rainy day. What can you offer? And speak to 3. So you make sure that what they're offering you is, a good choice. So that's what I would say about investing.
Excellent. And finally, why do women need to know about finance?
Okay. I could talk about this, but I'll keep it short. So I think, women and men, everybody needs to know about finance, but I think access to capital is one of the major impediments to anyone progressing their lives, progressing their business. And there are many women who head households or who look after others, whether it's their children or their parents. There's a lot of responsibility around community and community caring that falls to women. That being said, what I've seen in my experience is that the access doesn't always come as readily or equally to women. And so I think the first thing is to empower ourselves with knowledge. What are the products out there? What are the services? What are the providers? And the second thing is the process. I am a fundamental believer that if you need capital, you should be able to get it. It's just about understanding what are the mandates of the sources of capital out there and what you need to do to match up with that mandate, which is, that firm that says to give you a loan, these are the criteria. To give you equity, this is the criteria. To give you an injection in your business of 50,000 Jamaican and I don't need it back, this is the criteria. There are pools of equity capital out there, and once we do our homework, the answer should be yes. It's not a shot in the dark. We just have to know what the process is, what the capital providers are looking for, and then matching it up.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mariam Robinson, Vice President for PSOJ. She talked a little bit about women in finance and making money move. So can we give her a round of applause, please? All right, so we're getting into the new media scape now, and we have a young man by the name of Sing Zima. So he's here to talk to us a little bit about social media, new media, YouTube, right? So same questions for you: who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Well, before I start, I'd actually like to say thank you guys for having me here. I'm seeing a lot of CEOs, presidents, doctors, and I'm just a college student trying my best to get into the position of most of you guys. But my name is Jonathan Singh, also known as Sing Zim. I'm a YouTuber, influencer, entrepreneur. Just trying to figure out my life right now.
Nice.
So yeah, that's me.
Okay, and you said you're in college.
Yeah, I'm in college.
Nice.
In my last semester, actually.
Final semester, excellent. I wish you all the best.
I'm trying my best.
All right, so YouTube as a side hustle or as a source of income. Tell me about that.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. As Mr. Harris was saying, it's not just about YouTube itself, but it's about the personal branding. So income comes from both YouTube, brand deals, sponsorships, companies reaching out, promotions, whatever. So there are multiple streams of income. But the thing is, it's how you bring yourself to the public. I feel like a lot of people just start YouTube and they're doing all manner of foolishness, all manner of things. But honestly, if you're doing things that people don't like to see, or something that a company isn't able to market online, on TV, then where are you going to get the money from? So it's all about how you position yourself and how you brand yourself and how you look to the public. I mean, I'm a very bright person. My hair is discolored for a reason. But it's not for everybody, and I feel like being yourself is the best thing as well. So don't pretend to be somebody else just for the money or just because other people say that you should be this way, or you should feel this way, or you should post what. Post what you want, do what you want to do. But also remember that people are watching you.
Yes.
And people are looking out for you. So
that's
that's my advice to people wanting to start and wanting to
start YouTube. Okay, so tell me a little about the thought process of being in school and thinking. Did you just wake up one morning and say, I'm going to start a YouTube channel?
I actually started when I was in like 3rd or 4th form. I was in Florida. I had too many energy drinks. I was up, I was up until like 6 a.m. in the morning, and I was playing games with my friends. And they're just like, yo, why you don't make a video? Because I was popular on Snapchat or whatever. And I made the video. And then started making videos with my little brother, with my best friend Sam. And then I stopped for a while. And then my little brother asked me one day, John, can you make a YouTube video? I was like, all right, sure. And then I started back, and I've been consistent since that. So,
excellent.
Energy drinks was my reason for starting.
That's your motivation.
That was my motivation in the beginning. I never thought I'd be sitting here, nor was this the plan. Like, I'm kind of a go with the flow person, and I'm still kind of the same person.
Yes, so being yourself is a very important part. All right, so I saw on your YouTube channel, Hometown Hero. Tell me a little. Hometown Hero, yes.
That's the goal. I hope nobody saw that until later on, but that's the goal. So,
I give him a secret, guys. I apologize.
So, Hometown Hero, it's kind of a representation of who I want to be. So I want to be the person who people look up to, or who people strive to be like. Because I'm a kid in Jamaica who actually made it. Not yet, though, because I'm not a hometown hero yet. But the goal is to be the hometown hero of the country. I guess that's why I'm here in the ministry. I'm getting there. Thank you to everybody for supporting, by the way. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. So thanks to everyone who's watching, everybody who's subscribed, everybody who likes, everybody who's watching on the live, family, friends. And yeah, they're the reason I'm here right now. I mean, if it wasn't for them, so.
Nice. And the influencer culture is a big thing right now. As you mentioned too, brand deals, partnerships, sponsorships, and all of that. How important is it for you to control the content and position yourself in that way so that you can get those deals?
That's such a weighted question. Again, at the end of the day, I don't want to limit my brain or my creativity because of a brand. At the end of the day, people subscribe and people like because I am who I am. So if it's a case where a company doesn't like what I post, there's nothing I can do about it, because that's me being my authentic self at the end of the day. And I would lose support if I change.
Exactly.
Right? But that doesn't mean I'm going to just post anything and cuss and do a lot of things. So it's just positioning yourself and understanding what you want out of it. Some people may just want the fame, some people may just want the money, but why not have both? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's difficult to balance it, but there are ways to do it. And I think seeking advice from a parent, a friend who have them brain screw on properly, not just anybody, but have a group of people, make a WhatsApp group, ask your friends, or you can link Blue Dot and be like, hey, what do you think? What do you think is the best option? Or Mr. Harris, I'm there in marketing. So
nice, excellent. And finally, I just want you to give me like a list of things that somebody needs to start.
Your phone. Because the thing, everybody has a smartphone. I mean, everybody here could just press the camera button right here, and now you're a YouTuber. See? You're a YouTuber, so
thank you so
much. All you need is your phone. And I feel like a lot of people think that you need the best equipment, the best light. No, just start with what you have.
Start with what you have.
Or if you can borrow your friend's phone, because if you have a better phone, then try it out. But don't think that you have to have the best equipment, because I didn't start with the best equipment. I earned my way to get to the next level. So start with what you have.
Nice, excellent. So we see that point coming out again. Yes, round of applause, please. Start where you are with what you have. So excellent points coming out of that. Now that pretty much wraps up, the panelists, but I'm also on the panel to talk a little bit about media. Right? So my journey is also a little different, because I went to, all right, let me go back to high school. In high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I switched through several careers. I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to do forensics, I wanted to do food and nutrition, and now I'm in media. So you can see I've changed my mind a lot. But what really led me to finalize this decision was really going around and asking for help and asking for suggestions, and then matching things that persons would suggest to my personality and where I wanted to be outside of the space. So it was actually a supermarket conversation. I saw one of my seniors from Immaculate, and I asked her, "Oh, what are you doing?" And she told me about integrated marketing communication. And when I heard that, I was like, "Wow, this sounds like me!" Right? It was PR, it was advertising, it was social marketing, and a little bit of the media aspect, meaning the journalism aspect of it. So I was getting the best of both worlds because I felt like that best matched my personality. Now, going through university, I did a lot. So persons who know me knew I was a sports person. I did football from high school right throughout. Participated in several clubs. I did student leadership. So I was all over the place. But all of it was really a part of my plan to be where I want to be and beyond, right? To set myself up for the future. So fast forward into working at a media house. Honestly, I didn't expect to be there because, as I said, PR, social marketing, advertising were my main focal points. But I got an opportunity, and I took the opportunity. And through that opportunity, I've positioned myself to find other opportunities, right? So I've networked a lot. I utilize social media a lot. And through those platforms, through the branding, positioning myself, letting persons know who I am, what I do, what I'm about, I believe that's a good way to start. But just to kind of narrow down to becoming a news reporter, well, I honestly, in nowadays, a lot of persons, you hear about citizen journalism and all of that. Really and truly, a smartphone can position you in a place to be a reporter, right? But for persons who want to go the traditional means and going through university, there's always journalism. There's a colleague of mine. He was a PM Youth awardee, and he does reports, but he's actually an economist, right? So really and truly, it's not a bubble. You can actually get into journalism, but you can have backgrounds in everything, and that makes you stand out very well. So if you have a background in law, you can be in journalism because you understand principles, you understand history, you understand English language, you can speak to the legal aspects, so you can be focused on crime and court. That's an excellent way. You can be an econ major, and you can position yourself to write business news. We need more young people writing business news because we don't have a lot of that. So really and truly, guys, it's not a bubble for persons who want to enter the media landscape. There are opportunities for you to get voice and speech training, public speaking training, opportunities for you to build yourself. So don't look at it as a bubble. And I think just listening to everybody here today on the panel, where you start doesn't necessarily have to be where you finish, but it's a start, right? So it's a start, it's a foot in the door, it's somewhere for you to, just have the foundation and progress. So, that's my 2 cents. Anybody who has any questions on the platform later down, you can ask me, and I'll answer all those questions as it relates to what life is like in media and journalism. All right. All right, thanks everybody for listening. All right, so thank you all so much. So that was the end of our discussion aspect of the presentation. But we're going to get into some scoop on scholarships because we know the financial means of it is very important. And we're going to turn our attention, us in here to the Zoom. We'll be hearing from Tamika Benjamin, National Mathematics Coordinator for the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information rather. So she's going to give us some scoop on scholarship opportunities available to us.
Hi, Brittany. Thank you, and Minister Dr. Troop and other members of the panel. It's a pleasure to join, and it's a pleasure to share with you and all the young people and all Jamaica about the scholarship opportunities that we have at the Ministry of Education and Youth. I think I do a lot of things at the ministry, but this is probably one of the most fulfilling parts of my work. Seeing so many young Jamaicans get an opportunity to pursue their dream and their passion. We have a suite of opportunities available. We have grants, financial grants that are available for tertiary students or persons between ages 18 and 35. We offer grants, whether all that's required is that you're a Jamaican citizen and that you're pursuing a program in an accredited institution in Jamaica. Simple. I'll tell you a little bit about how you can apply. We also have the Jamaica Values and Attitudes program. And under that program, you can get funding for 30% of your tuition fees, up to $350,000 per annum. All we require is that you give back. In fact, all of our programs have some amount of give back required. But for JAMVAT, you're required to give back 200 hours of service in a non-profit organization or a government agency or ministry. And so that's how you can help to pay your tuition fees. And then a bigger part of our offerings comes through some specialized scholarships. It's our goal to drive increase the number of persons in some areas that our country desperately needs. Clearly, as the Ministry of Education and Youth, we prioritize education. So we have a number of scholarship opportunities available for persons who want to be special educators or science educators. That's physics and chemistry in particular. So Mariam, you could have gotten a scholarship. We have agricultural science. That's another area that we're really wanting to push. We have visual arts, industrial arts, mathematics, of course, that's my field and my passion. And we have scholarships for students going to the University of the West Indies, the University of Technology, and the Caribbean Maritime University, who are pursuing programs in engineering. Can you imagine that we have 100 scholarships for engineering at CMU and 100 at UTech, 50 at UA, and I think this year was the first year we actually saw all 50 UA scholarships going. Still had under subscription for UTech and CMU. So there are a number of opportunities, and these scholarships come full tuition fees covered. There is a book grant. For all of the institutions except CMU, there's an opportunity for boarding if you meet the requirements for boarding. And all that we require as a ministry is that you maintain a 3.0 GPA to maintain that funding straight through your program of study, and that you do some amount of community service. It varies from program to program. For the scholarship students, it's just 40 hours over the period of your entire program. Just to note that once you benefit from any funding from the ministry that exceeds $299,999, if you can't remember that, $300,000, we will require you to serve a bond, which means we want you to give back once you are trained to building Jamaica. And and that bond will vary in terms of its length, up to a maximum of 5 years, depending on how much we funded you over the period of time. But for a number of our young people who just can't see where that first dollar is going to come from, these are real opportunities that are available. The ministry has made applying for the scholarships, the grants, and JAMVAT very, very easy. There is a portal located on the ministry's website. I think they will share the link for that at some point during the discussion, and you can click on. We're actually about to put on a demo video to help guide you. You upload all of the supporting documents that we require, and that's it. You make sure you click submit. We had some students who forgot to do that last year. Make sure you click submit, and that's it. We take applications beginning the 1st of April, and we close on the 30th of June. And so we want to encourage all of our young people to make use of this opportunity. I think our budget, Minister, is just about $535 million per year that we use to fund and build our young people and hence build our nation.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Tamika Benjamin, and she's from the Ministry of Education and Youth, the National Mathematics Coordinator, and she told us about several scholarship opportunities available, and this is under the ministry's Tertiary Students Assistance Program. So as she said, application period runs from Friday, April 1, 2022 to Thursday, June 30, 2022. Each scholarship covers tuition, miscellaneous fees for the duration of the program. It also provides a book grant. There's also an opportunity for persons to go to the Ministry of Education and Youth, Monroe College, New York scholarship opportunity as well, for computer networks and cybersecurity, as well as criminal justice. So just some supporting documents that you may need: a recent passport-sized photograph, a certified copy of your birth certificate, proof of existing qualifications, an acceptance letter or letter verifying that the student is registered in a program of study. Students who are in the second year of a 4-year program applying for a scholarship should also provide a copy of a transcript and your contact information, which includes your email address and telephone numbers. So excellent opportunity here for you to get assistance with your funding. Successful applicants will be bonded for a period of 5 years. However, it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for you to get your tertiary education and, of course, contribute to Jamaica and your development overall. So you can visit the Ministry of Education's website or send an email to scholarships@moey.gov.jm. I'll repeat that, scholarships@moey.gov.jm, and you can ask them any question you may have about those opportunities. So we are in the question and answer segment. And is everybody ready to take questions in my panel? Yes? Good, because we have some exciting people on the Zoom and the social media asking a ton of questions based on the presentations earlier. Yes? All right, so I'm going to ask persons on Zoom to utilize the raise hand feature just to ensure that we do it in an orderly manner. So the raise hand feature will be utilized and we'll have our tech team assist us with identifying the person. So do we have any questions ready as yet? Or rather, I should say, which question first?
Okay, so we have a question from Minister Williams. If you are not a minister or involved in politics, what would be your ideal career?
Oh, well, I spent many, many years in the financial sector. I think from, when I graduated high school, I went straight to work for Bank of Nova Scotia at the time, and it's just been a career in finance, and if I leave politics, I'll go right back into finance.
All right, so we have another question coming in.
This one is for MP Crawford. Can you elaborate more on, are there any programs or group that I may need to join if I'm interested in becoming an MP?
Okay, yes, there are. So the Jamaica Labour Party has the Generation 2000, which is the young professional arm, and the Young Jamaica, which they're more underground going into communities. The PNP has the PNPYO and the Patriots. So you have to determine which political party you are more attracted to based on your ideologies. And there are so many opportunities to get involved. Both major political parties, their youth arm has quite a number of information on WhatsApp groups, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So look at the policies being offered by both political parties, see which one you are more attracted to, and just go on the pages and see what they're about, what they're doing, and then make a decision.
All right, thank you.
This question is for Khalil Harris. On your answer, you're not sure about second source of income. What about the term make money work for you? What if you can have 2 other jobs aside from your passion that's making money? What's your advice on that?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. Miriam spoke to the idea of passive income. So jobs, or listen, we're all Jamaican, and that's noted across the world that Jamaicans have many jobs. So we always have lots of things to do. I'm not discouraging anybody from not taking opportunities. Opportunities come, and you need to see opportunities, take them as they come, and look at them, dabble with them. But actually look at them, analyze them, go through with them, figure out if they're right for you, but always understand one thing: time is limited. And you only can focus on so much things and no more. And whether you like it or not, if you're going to focus on one thing or focus on many things, it's actually taken away from the other. So you have to always think about that. But if you're able to manage multiple jobs to create more income, or manage regular things apart from what you're doing, so I invest, whenever I get extra money, I invest it in real estate. Or I invest in other businesses. In marketing, I get a lot of persons coming in, hey, I have an idea, this business is but I look at them and like, can you afford this? Can you afford that? And then they like, can't afford it. But if I see it's a good idea, I do invest. No, I'm not the CEO there at that company. I would just become the mentor for that company. So that would be my passive income right there. So there are multiple ways to make money without you being a part of it. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna say what we normally do is have multiple jobs, I'm always not encouraged at having multiple jobs. It's like focus on what you can become great at what you do
yes.
and move up that ladder, you know?
If I could add to that, I feel like the question is based on having jobs and not necessarily their passion. So my belief is that you do what you hate so you can invest in what you love. So to that person, I would say work the many jobs, but if there's something that you're really passionate about that you want to achieve, I think you should put your all into that once you're at that position. But if you're just casually going around hustling to make ends meet, that's fine as well. But I feel like investing wholeheartedly in your passion is what you're saying, you know, because you can't really focus on one job. At the end of the day, you'll get a set paycheck in most cases. But if you invest in what you love to do, and if you invest in your passion, in your business, then it's possible for you to level up. And it's still a risk, but I mean, without risk, there's no reward, so.
Nice. All right, so we heard time is the master, and we heard pursue your passions and focus on your passion. So some good points coming out there. All right,
so
next
this
question
is for Mrs. Robinson. I'm a young adult and I'd like to invest more. What are some investment opportunities can you suggest I should look into as a young person?
Thanks for that question, and I'm glad to hear that you're thinking about it. So from a very practical standpoint, there are two things I would suggest. The first is there are a number of investment companies across the country, and so I would open an account with one of them, maybe two, and become a customer of those investment companies, which will actually allow you to make decisions on which types of, say, stocks you want to buy if you want to trade yourself. But you also can meet with an investment advisor, and they'll give you a sense of how to think about how much cash you should keep versus how much you should put in what we call a liquid asset type, which is something that will just stay there and appreciate ideally over time. So talk to one of the investment houses, because I think people have this belief that because I'm so young or because I'm not there, I don't reach yet, I can't just go to call up a bank and say, bank, come and talk to me about my options. But I always tell people, whether you're in business, whether you're young, old, it doesn't matter. You should be calling your bank once a month just to check in. Hey, it's Mariam, just checking in. Let them say, oh, again? So that by the time you need capital, they'll be like, you know what, I know Mariam, we've built an authentic relationship. So by the time she comes to me now and sings to me, come, I'm like, you don't have to tell me about what YouTube is. I get it, right? So that's one. Two is I would do what I call dummy investing. So before you actually put too much capital to work, come up with a scenario where you're looking at a company that you like. It doesn't have to be Grace Kennedy, but it can be any company, right? There are lots on the stock exchange. No, I'm serious. It can be any company. And then assess the company and say, if I put $100 in today, how many shares would I get? And then see what the price has done over time, and really see over 3 months, say, you know, something short, how much money I would have gotten had I invested in this particular area. By the way, that second answer is very specific to equity because it's easy to start there if you're a young person. It's really hard to just say, I'm going to go buy a house. So my first answer, where you actually speak to the investment house, so to speak, the various firms, that will give you a better sense of the landscape. And information is power. Knowledge is power in this regard.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So this question is for Dr. Troop. So Dr. Troop, I would like to become a principal. What are some of the groundwork I need to put in?
Okay, thank you for that. And I'm so happy to hear that someone wants to come in teaching. You know, for you to become a principal, you have to go through your education training. You have to be a trained teacher to become a principal. So you have to go to teachers college and pursue. Now we're entering the profession with a bachelor's degree. So you can pursue your passion. So you may like math or science or geography, you know, whatever it is, you have an opportunity as a high school, secondary level teacher to specialize in an area because you're actually a specialist at the secondary level. But now with Minister coming in, we have to be modifying the primary level program. So now we can have our primary level teachers being specialists in different areas, at least 2 areas. We have now modified their program of study so they can come up with some expert skill areas to help us drive the curriculum so we can do better. So that's the kind of basic training that you want to pursue as a person going into education. Then you have to serve at least 3 years as a teacher to get an opportunity into principalship. You want to also try and be a
a senior teacher, a manager, a middle manager in your school, because we need leadership skills demonstrated to get you into that pool that somebody will want to select you as a principal. You have to be dynamic and you have to love children. If you don't love children, principalship teaching is not for you, because the reward really is to see the children become the best selves, the best person that they can be. And that's my reward. When I see my students and they say, Miss, I am so and so, Miss, that's the joy. I feel like I've just changed the world. So that you have to love children, you have to love to see people grow and become, and better than you. I've always said to my students, don't be just me, because they always say, Miss, I want to be like you. I said, be greater than me.
Yes.
You know, you have to want to push people to become even better.
Yes.
So that's some of the things.
And could I add to that?
Yes.
As a trained teacher myself, I would want to add that even while you wait to become a principal, to embark on personal development. So you can, in the meantime, be doing a part-time master's degree at one of the universities. I did educational administration, and it gives you the courses that you take and the practical experience and the study that you do. It gives you information about leadership and school level management. So that would also be useful.
And just to add to, you have to be involved, community involvement. So it's not just the academics, not just the pursuit of academics and training, but part of being selected to be interviewed is how much community involvement you have, what you serve, how you serve your church, how you serve your local communities, in your PTA, in your community neighborhood watch. Those things are very important, and it gives you score on your shortlisting instrument to become a principal.
Nice.
So we have a Dion Walters McLeod on Zoom. You could go ahead and unmute your mic and go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am not hearing quite well, but let me just pose my question to Dr. Robinson. Is that the name?
Mrs. Robinson.
Mrs. Robinson, great. I like and I love your enthusiasm about the workforce and all. I would really love to get a guideline as it relates to how you do investment in stock exchange, and you know, I like that part, but I would really like a guideline for.
All right.
Dion's, or I didn't see your surname, so allow me to just say Dion Walters, Mrs. Walters. Thanks for that question. So I wouldn't be able to share the specific steps right now, but one of the things, if you know, I'm taking back as feedback back to the sector. So Jamaica Banking Association has all the different financial institutions, of which they all have investment houses. But also, I think we need to do more public awareness building around how people can get into the investment business. So I'm really happy to hear there's interest there. The other thing is for the Pension Association of Jamaica. So this is investing for when you retire, which no matter how young you are, we should be thinking about that from now. I've probably passed the time to be thinking about that, but I'm still thinking about it, which is that Sanya Goff and her team, who lead Pension Association of Jamaica, they're trying to also get out and get the message out there about how to think about retirement, how to think about your pension, especially if you don't work for one of these long-term established companies. So I'm just going to take that as feedback as to how we can get out there and do more of these seminars for our young people. And I'm committing not just the PSOJ, but the JBA and our member associations that have investment arms. The final thing I'll just say is that, you know, I'm fortunate to work in an area where there is a big push around financial inclusion, which is not just about bringing more persons into the formal banking sector, if you will, but it's actually demystifying all of these types of products, investments, pension, insurance, right? So that persons can figure out how should it fit in my life when I'm a young person all the way through, not just at the time of need. So sorry for not being more specific right now, but thank you for the feedback, and I'll take that as an action item.
All right.
Thanks much.
All right, so we just have 2 more questions. So this question is for Lauren. I'm an entrepreneur myself, and I feel like I've made a lot of mistakes. What's one thing you have done differently as a business owner that you'd advise a young person not to do?
So I have a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, who's also another entrepreneur, Gordon Swaby, always says, ignore the noise, focus and execute. And it's very profound because it really is, you just need to have the grit and push on and move on. Just focus and execute your plans, and don't listen to the naysayers, and just push forward. That's in short. I can't say it any better than that.
Nice.
And if I want to add to that, I mean, so the question is basically find mentors. Find mentors. I mean, a lot of us, sometimes we feel like we can do it ourselves, or we have a better idea, or we're scared that somebody might steal our idea, or all of these things all over the place. However, listen, find mentors, and mentors don't have to be in this new space. You can. There's a lot of CEOs. There's a lot of persons or entrepreneurs online that will talk to you. They're on Twitter. You can tweet them. You can, and they'll talk to you.
Yes.
However, there's always space. I've never found an entrepreneur who is not willing to give a little advice. And I mean, even around the table here, I've asked Miriam she's CEO of the bank, and I've asked her, can I come talk to you for a minute? And she says, hey. I don't think she'll let everybody, but but you know, she knew me, and I want to talk to you about my business or so, and she gave me her advice.
Nice.
Even Lauren, I mean, we're hanging out in a space, and he'll be like, hey, look at this, think about this. And so entrepreneur will always offer, because we're not in it by ourselves, and we will give you advice to say, listen, I don't know about that, but do this, probably try this, you know. And everybody has their own space. So find mentors, and that's what it would be. And you know, if you'll figure the mistakes before, you'll find that they made the mistake, and you probably don't need to make it.
That's all.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we have another person on Zoom, Elvie Moody. Please unmute. Elvie. Okay, we'll move on to Jalila. Please unmute your mic and ask your question. Okay, so I'll just say the last question that we have here on Instagram. What was it? Oh, that was it, actually. That was the question.
All right. Thank you so much, Chantal, for moderating the question and answer segment for me. And thanks to all our panelists for the responses, and thanks to our supporters or guests who are here for all the questions that you have asked. So just a quick tip, if you didn't get to ask your question, you know, you can find everybody on LinkedIn and on social media. So don't be shy. Feel free to reach out. Lauren is big on Twitter. I'm sure Khalil has monumental partners on LinkedIn if you want to apply for career opportunities. We have Sing Zimmer on the YouTube, so you know, if you want to collab one day maybe. And you're on LinkedIn too, excellent, see? So the opportunity is there for you to network. So don't be shy, reach out, because your network will contribute to your net worth at the end of the day. So don't be afraid. Now at this time, I'm going to invite my panelists just to give us a quick, probably 10-15 second last bit of advice for everyone, and then we'll move into the closing remarks from Honorable Minister Fayval Williams. So I'll start with you, Khalil, and come around the table. So last bit of advice.
I think I said most of it, but as I said, and we kind of hit it, as I said, know your target audience, know who you're talking to at all times, understand who you're talking to, and Sing said it.
Sing Zimmer,
yes. Jonathan said it best. He said, listen, do not understand who you are and act accordingly, right? Don't try to go into somebody else. Don't try to go into his space or try to be like him. Understand who you are. People will see. It's like, almost like you're on the phone with a smile. People can tell that you're smiling.
Yes.
So people can tell when you're fake. So that's it. Understand your target audience. Go after them. You said it. Network.
Yes.
And I like what you said. Network means build your net worth, right? So network, because you have to join your communities and understand what's going on in your space. And mentor, get your mentors in order. It can be online, it can be in any space. And the last thing I'll add is read. Read, guys. Understand there's so much noise in the world right now. So much noise in the world that if you don't focus on what you're interested in and what you want to do, you'll get lost in the noise.
Noise, yes.
So read, position yourself, understand where you're going, and just read the blogs, read the articles. You don't have to read books. I know people get frustrated with books, but you can listen to audiobooks these days,
yes,
and so on. But understand your space and keep going into your space. Keep learning your space. Hone your craft.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Harris, founder and CCO of Monumental Partners.
Thanks.
Now I'll move to you, MP Crawford.
My advice would be that when you have achieved success, you have achieved your goals, don't be selfish and sit back and enjoy all that you have achieved. Reach back and try to help somebody else.
Nice. Rhoda Moy Crawford, MP for Manchester Central. All right, now moving to you, Dr. Troop. Last bit of advice.
As you know, I'm an educator. We're pivoting in the room. So my advice would be take your education seriously. I couldn't sit here. I mean, you're going to go through a lot of channels. You're going to undertake a number of different options, jobs. But the foundation of that is the learning opportunities that you now have. So I'm speaking to my babies out there, my boys, my girls, my children. The learning opportunities you have in the education sector is very important. I want you to maximize on that. And it's not perfect, but if you are committed to your own learning and your own development and your own reading, the sky is no longer the limit. So I want you to focus. And as Buju Banton said, when mama spend her last and technical class, never you ever play.
Yes.
It's a competitive world for low budget people. Pull up, minister.
Yes.
But, you know, but I really want my boys and my girls to maximize. Don't excuse your future away. You are not what has happened to you. You are the choices that you make at the end of the day. So maximize, love learning, go to school. Those who are not connected, go back to school. Yes. I want to see you in that classroom. I want to be talking about you as you contribute to the transformation of Jamaica. So take your education seriously. That's my charge.
Nice. So I should call you DJ Dr. Kassan. All right, the words from Dr. Kassan Troop, acting CEO of Ministry of Education and Youth. Minister Williams? Oh, you want to do it okay, so let me get the rest of the advice. So, Mr. Peart?
So my advice would be, if you're considering getting into entrepreneurship, there's nothing wrong with having a 9-to-5 and still being in a 9-to-5 and literally work at your 9-to-5 up until 5 p.m. And then you have all of that other time between 5 p.m. and when you go to your bed to actually work on your no side hustle until you turn it into an actual business. I did that for 13 years. I was in a 9-to-5 and then I started Blue Dot, and I spent a lot of time after working hours working on Blue Dot before I actually built it to the point where I was able to supplement my income that I was getting from my 9-to-5 and started Blue Dot, and that's how it, so there's nothing wrong with having a 9-to-5. If you're considering being an entrepreneur, get there, start it, work on it at any chance you can get, and then you can shift into the actual entrepreneurship and go full time.
All right, Lauren Peart, CEO of Blue Dot. We'll now move to Mrs. Mariam Robinson, Vice President for PSOJ.
Yeah, my advice is that we should take advantage of the phase of the world that we're living in now, which does not limit people to what they should be doing or what they are expected to do. Knowledge is power, so really focus on, if you want a particular path to get from A to B, 30, 50 years ago, they might say that person who looks that way couldn't do that job. All of those stereotypes are being busted up right now. So as young people, go for what you really want to do, get to know yourself. That's a big process. And really don't hold yourself back with the old school way of thinking about things and the things that we put in our minds to hold ourselves back. It's such a great journey. I wish I was your age again, but enjoy and please reach out. Please reach out.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Robinson. And finally, Sing Zima, social media influencer.
So why made it have to be last? Anyways, y'all said a lot, but I would like to say, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and don't be afraid to start or do things you've been thinking to start. As Lauren said, I think the best thing to do is to just start. And the last thing I'd like to say is try to change the world by being your authentic self.
All right. So can we get a round of applause for everyone? All right, so it was a great program. It was a great session. I had a wonderful time, and I'll just say that this is the last time you'll be hearing my voice. My name is Brittany Clark. I was your moderator, and I'll now hand over to Honorable Fayval Williams, Minister of Education and Youth, to bring the closing remarks.
All right, thank you so much. And from me, I'd love to say to all our students out there, know what your dreams are. Follow your passion. If the fire burns in you, don't let anybody put it out. That's where your energy is going to come from. And like as Dr. Troop said, maximize on your educational opportunities is the foundation from which you are going to go. So let me say thank you to everyone for being here this afternoon, for sharing of yourself. This is important. I wish I could clone everybody and just take you to our schools so our students could interact with you in the flesh. This is important information, and if you don't believe it, watch that TikTok that's going around, that TikTok video where students during career week, at some school, they're each saying what they would like to be, and there's this one little boy that said he wants to do this very illicit activity that we all know. I won't call the name of the activity, but we all know, and that just tells me in his environment, that's what he's seeing and that's what he's learning. He's not exposed to what we're talking about here. And so we need to grant this access to way more of our students in any way we can, on any platform that we can. And so again, I want to thank you. And in your own fields, please get out there. If you want to get into one of our schools to just talk about your career, let us know. We'll coordinate it for you to go in and just rap with students there, whether it be virtual or given that we're back in the face-to-face environment, it would be good. And in closing, I want to say it would be quite selfish of me if I did not recognize Chantal. This is actually her brainchild. And, and to say thank you to the team from the Ministry of Education and Youth, members of the media, or moderator for the afternoon. You've taken us through so nicely. Thank you so much. Thank you. I enjoyed being with every one of you, and we should do this again. Yes. All right.